All right, you guys, we're going to talk about how you properly do a test buy. Now, this is important because if you do not do this correctly, it'll take longer for it to get processed on one hand. You might even have to redo the test buy. Or on the other hand, you might end up getting your whole listing shut down if you use the wrong keywords. So we're just going to go over all the do's and do nots. And this cost my friend like $50,000 because he didn't do this right. So definitely pay attention here. So in my suggestion, you should absolutely have the website for your brand. So if you haven't seen yet, you can make a website in like 15-30 minutes. I have videos on how to do that and some good deals on that. And it's super easy to do. You don't need any, I do like the step-by-step walkthrough. So you should have that as ultimate proof, especially if they try to change your listing. And then the other way is you need to be careful of the address that you do this test buy to, okay? So I would suggest try getting it sent to an Amazon locker if you're in a bigger town. Or the other things that you could do is don't use your personal name, especially if the name that you use in the cease and desist letter. If you do use one, don't use your company address because then you're giving them information and the name. And then you could use something like compliance team or whatnot. But don't say your company compliance, or maybe don't use compliance team because that'd look bad. Use some name, just use a different name. That would make sense. So like I said, don't use your company name, and then don't tell your competitor that you're going to buy a test buy if they don't remove it, because now they're going to be like super watching out for test buys, So they could be looking at where your company's based at. They could do all sorts of stuff. They're a black hatter, so don't give them any information just don't give them any inkling that this is going to happen, and they'll just send it out. Here's the other do not do's. So I'll show you guys the do's after, but in case you guys click off and we're like, oh, great, I'll go do that. This is most important. So do not use the word copyright. Do not use the word trademark or counterfeit. Counterfeit is most important because this happened to my friend. He used the word counterfeit and then they ended up shutting the whole listing down because they thought the whole thing was a counterfeit, and then now it was a big mess and it took months. He even got his whole account shut down because of that. So definitely watch out. Don't leave a negative review for that seller, because why? Don't leave for one, it's your product. So now you have a negative review on your product. And then two, so you could get in trouble for potentially leaving negative reviews on your competitor and colluding or whatnot. So just don't do that. All right. So, or even if because there's different systems that control there's different systems and bots that control how you deal with your competitors versus how if this is test buy. Okay. So you don't want to, unfortunately, get yourself into trouble. And there's people that have done that before. And then, like I said, don't tell them you're using the test buy. That's just asking for it. So ways to submit a test buy. I'll show you guys step by step, but essentially you're going to need to gather the ASIN and then the product title. You need your Amazon order ID. You want your seller name, or not your seller name, the seller name of the person that is selling it, and your Amazon order ID, and then an extremely detailed photo. And you want to annotate this. So you have your product over here, and then you have the infringing product here. And then what you will do is you'll show, and then you want to have this on the product listing and on your product website too. So you want to show the pack. And then the other thing you really want to have is I didn't include it here, but a bullet point list of the things that you need, or of the just like description, bullet points, or like hyphenated or something, just so it's very nice and concise that these are the differences. And here's the thing. You're going to report it as a not as described case, okay? Not as a counterfeit, not as anything else. Say this is simply a product not as described, and you're not going to run into any issues. So that's the way that works. Submit evidence. So in our bullet points and our photos, we want to show the product is different from the listing. So this will obviously be the brand name on it, but you don't have it trademarked if you're watching this. There's going to be the packaging. So what are the differences in the packaging? And this is where you want to have your website, because they might change the product listing, or maybe your packaging doesn't show absolutely everything, like the instructions or all the actual wording on different parts of the product, or the description. So, or the product product instructions. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for there. Yep. So anytime there's verbiage that's different, packaging that's different, let's see, wiring, like if it's electronics. So if you open this thing up, disclosure, I did get the wiring tip from, I think it was the Amazon seller's lawyer, CJ. That was a pretty neat one. That and weight, those were two interesting ones I found from that. And essentially, you're gonna want to get like open it and show it that the wiring is different, and then maybe but you don't have your wiring on the Amazon listing. But if you have on your product website, you could have extra photos that aren't allowed on Amazon. It's like you could have a legitimate case would be that you have 20 product photos on your product website, and you could only have so many on Amazon. So there's a reason why that's not there. But by pointing to the official brand website and that, you know, these products match, okay. So if you have UPC on both of them, and you could even have ASIN for Amazon on your website, and then the ASIN there, then, you know, there's a pretty good case to be made. Or you could show the weight is different. Basically anything that's different at all, because sometimes they will copy your product 100% exactly, but they're going to mess up on something. For example, when people would copy my Eclipse glasses, they got pretty much everything right, except on the glasses, for some reason, they put enjoy the sunshine, but they spelled, no, enjoy the sunshine. That was one of my favorite ones that they said. Okay, so what you're going to do now to report the test buy is you're going to go in the top right, you'll hit help, contact us. You'll get to this page, and then you will go to, on the left-hand side, other issues right there. And then we hit report a violation. And then now this would be order not as described for order ID, whatever. Okay, so what you would have here then is go in there and say, please describe issue. Put that information that I showed before. Yep, so have that information. We'll put it in the description. And then with your photos, you can add them as attachments. Make them nicely titled, okay? So perhaps you would say your ASIN or the order ID, and then the ASIN and the product title, not as described. So maybe say not as described dash whatever. The only reason I'm saying this is because think of how many they're downloading on their computers. They've got a crazy amount, and you need to make this as easy as possible for these people. They have quotas that they have to meet, and if it's too hard, they might just skip it and go on to the next one. Yep, and then you go that, and you'll hit submit. All right, so that's how you do it, guys. Hit submit, and then you should get a response in a couple days, hopefully faster. But I hope this is helpful, and make sure you do not give them, don't use those bad words. Don't put your company info in there. And yeah, I think that you guys should be okay. And hopefully they will get it taken care of as soon as possible. And it's even better if it's Prime, you know, get the 1-day shipping, and then make sure you're getting the buy box back for your product, because you don't want to be letting them, you know, ruin your conversions or take your sales and then get negative product reviews, because it's, even though you got them taken off, it's really hard to get those product reviews for the bad sales removed, if not impossible. One other thing, you absolutely want to have your website before, you know, as soon as possible when you make a product brand. It does not cost much. I have videos on how to do that, but here's a worst case scenario. Somebody could go and buy the website for your company. And this actually, even my friend was doing multiple 7 figures and still was not buying the brand name for his company. So, you know, it didn't cost too much, but somebody could go in and get the official brand name for your website. And then now they could be sending stuff into Amazon and saying, hey, we're the, you know, because technically if there's no trademark, nobody owns it yet. And if you haven't filed one, and then they go by the website, you know, what is Amazon going to go off of? You're really going to have no bargaining power if it's a dispute between both of you. I mean, you can try to say you made it first, but it's a long, messy battle, and you don't want to get into that. So make sure you have that website so that especially if you don't have detail page control, they can change the images, and they might end up finding a way to win on the detail page control. And then it's a big throw up of, well, who has the right pictures, who actually owns this product and everything. So definitely make sure you have that website, because it's going to make your cases easier to report. It's going to prevent your competitor from messing with you. And it's also going to show your competitor that you're more serious and whatnot, because you have the product or you have that brand website, and now they're not going to be able, they're going to take you more seriously than something that is, they know it's going to be, you're going to win. Versus if they could go grab it or whatnot, and like they might see you as more of a beginner if you don't have a website at all. So this is easier, and they know they could get a better chance of winning. So anyways, I hope that you guys get through that. If you're watching this, I hope you get through it. You will. Everybody does. And yeah, just do these steps properly and you won't run into further issues. And then make sure you get your trademark as fast as possible, because you can get rid of them right away.